So far, we are able to upload an image, as in we are filing the post request on dropping a file or selecting it from the Dropzone interface. And also in my last video, I showed you how we can upload an image on S3 bucket. So extending from my last video, what I will do is handle the post request and upload the image onto S3 bucket. So here is what I have done so far. We have returned the request and that's the only thing. Now slowly we need to write our code which will not only insert the record that a file has been uploaded but also upload it to the S3 bucket. So first things first, I know that I will need the gallery ID. So okay, so this is the gallery ID which I am getting from the post request. The next thing is we need to check whether the file exists or not. We get a method has file. If we don't get that, we will return the response with a 400 error. Okay, so let's write some comment, check if the file exists. Second thing is we need to check whether the file is a valid file or not. So we have a method for that as well. So we say if so we get if the request file is valid, rather is not valid, again we will return a response which is 400. Only thing we can say file is not valid, right? So we are handling the two cases where we assume that the files can be wrong. So check if. All right. Now, once we are ensuring that the file is present in the post request, the next thing is we need to run the validations. So let's say validator. So yeah, I'll pass the request object to it, and in the array I will define my rules. The first thing is gallery ID. So it's a required field and it has to be integer. Okay, that's done. Next thing is all right. So the next thing is file. File should be required. I am defining the MIME types. I can allow for JPEG, JPG, and PNG, which I added using the commas. And then I will say that the max file size I want to restrict to is 6 MB. And so the next thing is obviously if my validator fails, I'll again return a response which is 400. And here I will say, for now, let's keep it simple. There are errors in the form. Okay. I'm not going into the details of which field is missing or which field isn't valid. We can handle it later. We get the error objects, but for now, let's keep it simple. Okay, so we have tackled all the edge cases where the file may not be present or the file is not valid or maybe the validations give me an error. Now coming to the main part where we need to prepare our post request so that we can make the file entry. For that I require MIME type, and then in the request file we have get client. I think I have typed it correctly. If you have any doubts, what we can do is quickly refer to the documentation. So let's go to Laravel docs. inside, where is request? Requests, files, right at the end, click on this link, and you get all the methods. Now I had doubt with get client mime type, right? So yes, let's copy paste it. It will ensure that I am not doing any typo. So fine, I have my mime type ready, and then I need the file size. I'll say, why don't we copy this? And for this file size, we have a method which is, where is it? The client size. So let's copy that out. Okay. So I have the file size ready, and the last thing is file name. Let's just say the file name will be gallery underscore, then the gallery ID, right? So I have my gallery ID. I append an underscore again. Okay. Then let's give it a unique name. Then the full stop for the extension. And then request file. Let's do guess client extension. So this is our file name. And so my basic data is ready. I'll now call the S3 instance. So I'll say $S3 storage. Let me quickly just first add the use of the classes. I have used validator, so okay, validator is already present. After validator, the only thing I need to add is storage, right? So okay, so I'm creating the storage instance here, and we will keep it in a if condition. So if $S3, we have the put method. I'll say $file name. So if the file name, which comes as the path, and then file get content, the request file, which is this. Okay, and which is a public file, obviously. If this is done, then we will make the database insert. Let me just check. So this is the bracket here, which is closing here. This bracket is the main one, and this, yeah. So I think it's correct. Inside my if loop, if condition, sorry, I'll say $file equals. So the first thing is file name. The file name is already defined here, so I'll just fetch that. Then the next thing is mime type. I'll just check mime type. So then the next thing is file size, as far as I remember. So the file size we are already picking up from the file. All right. Now the next thing is file path. For the file path, I know that all the images which are going to be uploaded on S3 will have a typical URL, which is s3 dot something something slash then my bucket name, which I have added in my env file. This s3 amazon aws.com slash learning l5 and then a slash. So as you remember, we have added the key, the secret, bucket name, region, and now I'm adding this s3 URL in my environment file, and I'll use this in the file path. I'll say env this, and then $file name. This should be the file path, and the last column is type. I'll say this is S3. This last column, as I had mentioned earlier, is basically If for some reason I want to upload some of the files in my server and not on S3, whereas some files, rather the most of the files will go on S3, I have a type column which can bifurcate which files are in the local file system and which are actually uploaded on S3. Okay, so we are creating a file, and let's just test this out. I have not included file, so let me quickly go and fg, so use app file. Okay, and I'll show you my S3 bucket. This is empty, and now let's upload an image and see what happens. Okay, there is an error. What is that? This is strange. There's no. Okay, so I just remembered that I had not created the model of file, and I guess the same holds true for the migration so far. So that's the reason I was not getting the database entry. So let me quickly show you the migration for the file table, right? So PHP make model /m file. Okay. So the model is created, the migration is also created. Let me quickly go there, and I'll just copy paste the code because it's really a typical boilerplate. Okay, so yeah, if you match it with the controller, you can see I have the MIME type, file size, name, path, type, and status, right? Okay. Now, now by default, I'm storing it as 0. So the entry here will have a status as 0, and then later on, we will update it. Okay. So let's quickly try it out, whether we are getting it or not. Refresh. Okay, so now I already have it migrated, so I don't need to do it. But uh, after you do the migration, we can try it out again. File should have been uploaded. Okay, we have an error again. Let's quickly check what it is. Oh, sorry, I didn't mass assign in the model, so we need to $fill label, some array, and I'll quickly paste the rule. Okay, so yeah, we have the fillable properties done, and now let's go back to our browser, refresh, give it one more shot. I think all the items must have uploaded the image. It's just the transaction which is not happening of the database. Let me refresh the bucket. As you can see, all the 3 attempts did upload the image. It's just that the database failed. So the files are getting uploaded. It's here. Let me quickly check the SQL browser. Here we are getting the entry, the file name. If we copy this and paste it in the browser directly, my last entry, I'm getting the image. So things are working correctly. We are moving in the right direction. But the next thing is, right now I don't have any relation of the gallery with the files, right? I have a files table and I have a gallery table, but I need a gallery underscore images table. So quickly, I'll create a migration for gallery images table equals gallery images. This is the file. I don't need the timestamp. I don't even need a model for this. What I will do is I'll say table integer. It will be the gallery ID, right? And oh, sorry, table, and the file What am I doing? File ID unsigned. Okay, this should do the trick. Again, I'm not running the migration because I already have it in my database. No, I had already tried out the code before making the video. So once that is done, we get back to our controller, and in that we will make the entry just to make sure that I already have this table. I have gallery underscore images, I have id, gallery id, and file id, right? Okay, so in this I'll say gallery underscore images, insert, and in that my gallery underscore id is something which I'm already sending, which is gallery id, right? And I have the file id, which I will get from here. So the dollar file id, right? And once we are sure that the entry of the gallery and the file is established, we will say file image equals find, sorry, file find id. I get that row, file image, status is 1, and then I do file save. Okay, and let's just return response in that. Okay, let's return the file and 201 as the status code because it's created, and I have the file, the database. I don't think I have included it, so use eliminate support facades db, right? Let us delete all the images for now. Okay, and then view gallery, I'll load it for my first gallery, hit the upload. Okay, it's going there, and we get back the file object. Let's see if we got the correct one. Copy it, quotes, and yes, we do get the image, and now obviously we can see it in the bucket with the naming convention as gallery underscore 1 underscore the file name, which is the unique id. And if we hit the database, first inside the files table we have this 12th row, which is for the gallery id 1, and in images I have id 8, gallery id is 1, and file id is 12, which means the 12th one is for the gallery 1. So yeah, that's about it. So in my next lesson then, I will show you how we can get this success back and then show the images here inside the gallery, and also while loading a gallery we can fetch all those images and show it. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like the video, do click on the thumbs up icon and also subscribe to my YouTube channel.